guys, welcome to yet another interesting segment on Home Truth Niger. So the part four is upon us. I like to make you guys understand that it's not easy, yes, to get all this in piece and pieces and then try to bring them together as one video, and then still having to navigate YouTube restrictions because there are certain songs that YouTube will not allow you play to avoid getting copyright strike. You have to look for ways to go around it, which also takes time. That being said, I reached out to the lady yesterday. We were in contact last night and we spoke, and she said she was going to do something about it. And that's very good from her side. Now, I am sharing this video so that so many of you who have had bad experience or experiences with Nigerian men in as regards to romance scam, you know, to come out and speak and speak. If maybe someone had spoken out about their case or cases, uh, and maybe this lovely lady stumbled on it, maybe she wouldn't have made this mistake. She wouldn't have made this mistake because she was really in love, but uh, she was in love with the wrong person. And this is why I'm using this medium to call on each and every one of you to come out and speak. Don't just leave it to God. Yes, God would visit them, but still come out and speak. Create awareness. I also like to say all Nigerian men are not like this. I'm a Nigerian man. I'm proud to be Nigerian. I'm not gonna reject who I am. But when we see something wrong, we have to speak about it. We have to call a spade a spade. So this video is a video to create awareness, and also I encourage every one of you to come out to speak. You can write me if you want to share your story on hometruth86@gmail.com. If you want to stay anonymous, we can get on a call and I just have to record all you have to say. Just write me so people will learn and be encouraged to pursue relationship the right way, because there are still right and good decent Nigerian men out there who guys like this are actually making their lives unbearable, especially when they meet women from other parts of the world. So enjoy the part four.
It's my tantalizing play.
At the beach. Where are we again? We're in Monterosso.
Monterosso. It's my
It's
tantalizing.
beautiful.
My sweet pie.
So beautiful here.
Just take a look at it. Oh, Madonna. Mamma mia.
Cinque Terre was everything I imagined. The cliffs, the colors, the water. We took a boat tour and watched the coastline from the sea. We went down to the beach, sat by the water, let the sun sit on our skin. No rush, no agenda. It was one of those days where everything was slow and intentional. We weren't talking about problems. We weren't preparing or debating anything. We were just present, taking pictures, laughing, and for that day, it felt simple. It felt beautiful. It felt like we were exactly where we were supposed to be. He was sitting on the rocks looking out at the water, and I remember feeling proud. Proud in a quiet way, because he told me about his journey to Italy by sea, about the courage it took to cross water, about uncertainty, about risk. And standing with him there now, watching him look out at that same ocean, it fell full circle. The sea had once meant survival for him, and that day I wanted it to mean peace. I wanted him to see beauty where there had once been fear. I wanted him to feel accomplishment where there had once been instability. That's where my heart was. I was believing in his growth, and I was loving him from a place that was whole. And when I look back at that woman now, the woman I was, I don't see someone naive. I see someone sincere. I see someone who meant every intention and every word I said. I know the ocean can carry many things like fear, distance, risk, but it can also carry hope. And that day, I chose hope. Our day in Cinque Terre was coming to an end, and we both knew my trip was coming to an end too. Celebrating our first anniversary like this had been absolutely beautiful, and we were filled with so much hope for our future. We knew that the next time we saw each other, it wouldn't be a visit. The next time would be permanent. We had our paperwork in motion in 2 countries, we had plans, and we had timelines. As we prepared to board our bus back to Florence, we were leaving with anticipation because we knew that when I left Italy this time, the distance between us would only be temporary. Our waiting had an expiration date. He knew he could rest easy on the ride back to our little apartment in Florence.
This massive tantalizing power that came all the way from Canada to come see Spy.
We are in Florence.
Come on, this is Florence. Understand? Let me show you. This is a beautiful Florence. Oh my God, look at how beautiful it is.
I've always believed in seeing the good, in choosing hope, in looking at life through rose colored glasses. And in September 2021, after returning home from Italy, it was back to reality, back to responsibility. Within weeks of my return, we received notification that our USCIS petition had been approved and was moving to the NVC stage, a huge milestone achieved in record time. With diligence and determination, I secured approval for our expedite request, and it was no small feat. But I can move mountains when I'm committed and consistent, and in my marriage, I always showed up as both. 4 years later, 6 trips to Italy, countless flights across the Atlantic. My mind began to run through all the places we had been together since my very first trip to Italy in 2018. Torino, Milan, Venice, Lake Como, Amalfi Coast, Napoli, Rome, Pisa, Tuscany, Florence, and let's not forget Paris, Nice, and Monaco. We had been so many places together. And now, here we were in September 2021, and his CR1 visa had finally been approved. He had to go for the interview at the US consulate in Napoli. I arranged his travel from Torino to Napoli for his medical exam and the interview. I arranged for his train tickets and overnight accommodations. We talked at length about what life in America would look like, how the transition would unfold, and what our future together would look like once we were no longer separated by distance. This wasn't a vacation. This was permanent now. I spent hours preparing a folder of documents for him and shipped it so he would have everything he needed in his hands in time for his interview in March. I waited anxiously by the phone for his call. I thought about all we had been through to finally get to this point. And then my phone rang. I picked it up and held it gently to my ear. I took a deep breath and I heard him say, "Babe, I'm approved." Those words were like music to my ears. After all the distance, all the documents, all the coordination, all the belief, the next flight I booked would not be for me to go to Italy, but for him. to come to America.
United States of America, New York, chilling. Man, oof, I'm so happy, man. I'm so happy to be in this ground, this New York. Ah, no, I'm so happy. 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 This is Times Square. Life in Times Square. Please, I miss you guys in Italy, but sorry, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back to Italy. Bye. Bye.
When he first arrived in America, everything was already in motion. We spent the first few days in New York City sightseeing, and then I had a planned work trip to North Carolina. Before he even got here, I had arranged a job for him. The husband of my dear friend and coworker owned a renovation company and agreed to hire him as soon as he got here. The plan was for him to stay there for a bit, work, and get settled until we figured out our next step. We even went to get his social security number. And after I got him settled, I left North Carolina feeling good. He was happy, he was documented, and he could finally start working and making his own money while living his American dream. But during that first week, something didn't sit right with me. His first Facebook post in America was a picture of him holding my passport. He captioned it, "Blue Passport E Get Y," and tagged North Carolina. When I brought it up to him a few days later, he said I was nagging and told my friend I was making something out of nothing. Then he blocked me. Looking back, that first week in America told me more than I wanted to admit. After that first week, blocking became his pattern whenever we disagreed, and our next real argument happened not long after. See, North Carolina was always supposed to be temporary. He was now here on a CR1 visa, and his green card was for 2 years. We still had our paperwork processing for Canada, and he had a lot of options. The plan was for him to work, save some money, and then move closer to me, closer to the Canadian border. Since I was traveling to the US for work anyway, I knew that it would be easier for us if he was closer. But he said he loved living in North Carolina. He was staying with my friend and her husband in Cary, but he started talking about wanting to get a job and move to Charlotte. At the time, I didn't understand why distance was suddenly okay. I mean, I thought we were supposed to be building a life together. So he came to visit me. He met my family in person for the first time. My parents, my sister, my cousin, my kids, my friends, they were all skeptical. But because they loved me, they kept their side-eyeing to a minimum. But I didn't want to keep doing this visiting thing. I thought we were moving toward being in the same place. We argued about it, and like before, he blocked me again. Then later, he apologized. And after that apology, he posted a picture of us on one of his Facebook accounts. And at the time, I thought the apology meant progress. But it was a pattern that would only get worse. When he came to visit me for our second wedding anniversary, I was still in the middle of integrating him into my life, slowly and carefully. We had plans to visit my friend for her birthday party, and she lived a few hours away, so it was a little road trip for us. He loved dancing and drinking his beer in my car while I was driving. Even little things mattered, like the fact that he didn't have his driver's license yet. So I was the one driving him around. We knew that he'd need to get his driver's license as soon as possible once he moved closer, since I wouldn't be around to drive him to work and back or to get groceries. He had no problem cooking for himself or being self-sufficient now that everything had been lined up for him, and I was proud of him. And while he was here visiting, he spent time with my family. He spent time with my kids. He was working out with my son, and we were doing real life things, not just the highlight moments. He used to tell me he felt like my parents didn't really like him, and to be honest, they didn't. Everyone saw through him except for me. But they welcomed him and allowed me to live in my little bubble. They were side-eyeing him real hard, but they never showed it. My mom would give him that Trini eye roll anytime he talked. There was no point trying to hide her facial expressions. If you know my mom, you know what I'm talking about. She don't play. My dad was a little more subtle. He's really close with my ex-husband, so he would make small jabs and refer to my ex-husband as my husband, or he'd incorrectly say my husband's name. And to be honest, I don't think my dad knows how to pronounce his name to this day. But honestly, my family wasn't trying to be harsh. They were just watching. They wanted to see how everything would unfold, and I understood that. So I took my time. I wasn't rushing anyone. I wanted my family to see what I was seeing, or what I believed I was seeing. Around that time, we were talking about the future and about closing the distance. North Carolina had always been temporary, but we had already argued about it, and eventually he agreed and he said he would move closer. So this visit felt like a fresh start. We celebrated our anniversary together, and it wasn't just the two of us. A close friend of mine came from Boston, someone I went to university with, and she came with her family. So we all met up, we all hung out at Canada's Wonderland. It was one of those weekends that looks simple, but it actually meant a lot to me. It was his first time at an amusement park, and he wanted to go on all the rides. He was excited like a kid himself. I do remember him being on his phone a lot, and he said he was sending pics to his son, the one son I knew about at the time. And at this point, I knew he had reconnected with his son and the mother of that child, and that made me happy. In this moment, I was very happy. I genuinely wanted him to have new experiences. I wanted him to feel like he was stepping into a bigger life, and I believed we were moving forward together. And in those moments with my kids around, my family, celebrating, planning, I felt like I was doing it right, like I was building something real, on purpose. I didn't know then that just a few days later, with his obsessive interaction with his phone, that I would see something on his phone that would change the way I understood all of it. Before I tell you what I found on his phone, you need to understand what I was building at the time. He had been working in North Carolina. That was always temporary. When he agreed to move closer, we started putting real plans into motion. I created his resume. I coached him through his interviews. He transitioned from his old job to starting a new one closer to me. Because he didn't have credit yet, the first place he found had a roommate. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. I added him as a user on my credit card so he could begin building his own credit. I didn't want my failures to color his world. I wanted him to build himself up from the ground up. I was teaching him how credit works. I was teaching him things nobody told me. I was telling him. I even made sure our taxes were not filed together because I didn't want my mistakes to fall on him. This is how independence works. He didn't have his driver's license yet, so I made sure he had transportation. I got him a scooter so he could go back and forth to work. From the outside, everything looked like progress, a new job, a new place, a new routine. I wasn't trying to carry him. I was trying to equip him. And that's why when I found what I found on his phone, it hit me hard. It hit me the way it did. And I'm still recovering from that discovery. After he moved closer and started working, we fell into a rhythm, a routine. He had settled into his new job, was making his own money, paying his own rent, paying his own bills, including his half of our joint cell phone bill. He was getting to know his surroundings. I helped him find a barber and a stylist for his hair. He still wasn't driving yet, but we did things locally. It was about a 90-minute drive from where I lived to cross the border, so we would take turns. He'd come over to see me, but most of the time I'd go to him. When the weather was nice, we went to local events. We walked around, tried food, listened to music. It felt easy. These were the little things that make someone feel settled when they're starting over. It felt steady. It felt normal. In those early days, I had helped him settle into his apartment. He had absolutely nothing, so we had to start from scratch in order to furnish his room. We got a brand new bed, side tables, an air conditioner, and a set of table and chairs for the dining area in the kitchen. Fortunately, he had a roommate, so there was already a couch there, though we hardly spent any time out there. Since he enjoyed cooking his Nigerian food and eating, we looked around for an African market so he could get the specific ingredients and groceries he needed. When I'd go over to see him, I even got into the habit of bringing him the specialty items that he could not find over there, especially since he was not driving yet. He would take me out sometimes, and now he would offer to pay for me. It felt like progress, like we were finding our footing. One night he took me out to dinner, and while we were sitting there, he was on his phone a lot. I was used to him being on the phone. That wasn't new, but this felt different. At one point, I glanced over and I saw a message coming through that said, "Good night." It was from the mother of his children, and I remember thinking, why does she need to say good night to you? I have children too, and I don't make it a habit of saying good night to their father. So I said something to him about it, and that's when he got upset. He said, "Why do you always have to ruin everything?" We went back to the apartment that night, and I knew the next day I was going to look through that phone for myself.